the economy. Let's not mentor it. It has hit the economy, especially with the fact that it is PMS. And PMS is a major factor in transportation. Transportation is a major feeder into the price of goods and services, which of course directly affects inflation. Inflationary measure, CPI in Nigeria, has 50% of its weight in food. So meat, eggs, things like that are a major factor of inflation. And if petrol goes up by over 100%, then you do realize that it will feed into inflation and many other things. So it is a major, it's not something to be joked with. It's not something to take lightly. It's going to cost a lot of things. But I do also see how the government can do anything to, really mitigate the effect. If we had done this in 2012, maybe. But right now we have gotten so far that I don't even think we have the muscle to be able to cushion the effect.
Okay, I was going to ask you now, when you think of the way the government has handled it, the president earmarked 125 billion to energize MSMEs and the informal sector. How do you see these funds contributing to economic growth? And what challenges might arise if this bears?
So where is it going to go? Where is it going to go really? MSMEs. Who are the MSMEs? What does MSME actually mean?
So they need to be that specific for it to work.
Yeah, so the question is, who is an MSME? Is it really the people who are listening to your radio show right now? Or is it some person who has a portfolio briefcase company and they knows how to be able to apply for this loan?
Okay, now let me mention very quickly that we also had in the news, I didn't include it earlier in the Market Watch segment, but we also have the Corporate Affairs Commission planning to delist businesses that have not filed annual returns in the last 10 years. There's a 90-day notice that has gone out, and by October, about 90,000 business names will be affected. I mean, they will no longer be able to do business. Could it be that the government is trying to position and have actual data of people who should be able to benefit from these funds?
So yes and no. I'm not entirely sure that it will change a lot. I want to believe alongside with you that it will be efficient. This is not the first time we've seen a palliative measure not really reach the people it should reach. This is not the first time, even in this decade, that it is happening, that the real people who should benefit from it don't actually get to benefit from it. And it will not be the last. Because the truth about it is that if you have an economy where you have over 200 million people, and we have a poor data system, intervention methodology will always fall on its face. Now, I need to point you also to something that happened in the U.S. with COVID. COVID had in the U.S., they had a similar intervention methodology. But we still saw, and I'm sure you've seen in the news, generally because we are Nigerians, where there were a lot of people filing for false claims. Where we even saw some Nigerians arrested for filing for false claims. In the U.S., it became a major scam. Now, that is the U.S. that has a better data system than Nigeria. Now, imagine what can happen with the Nigerian system. So while, of course, I get the fact that those intervention systems will go to MSMEs, I feel strongly that, let's not kid ourselves. The real people that need the intervention will not get the intervention.
How can that work? Now, we've said that a lot. Like, how can we ensure that the people who really need it, the small, medium enterprise, that they get this?
So I think the best way and the honest truth is, and this is my own thinking, I'm not in policy. So in 2012, I think it was 2012, when the government wanted to create wanted to increase petrol prices, and it created the Shopee system. Now, of all the things that Shopee did, one of the major things that I think was very strategic was that Shopee created federal government buses that were able to shuttle across the country and ultimately at reduced prices. Now, what I would suggest is things that directly affect those people. So buses at cheaper prices, vouchers for the poor that they can use to be able to get tickets for train and bus prices at maybe half.
Okay, Mr. Andrew, we're going to go on a break now. When we return, we continue, and then we open the phone lines afterwards. Stay tuned.
Fantastic.
Sincerely, I don't want to wait till I graduate from this school before I
still talking. He's talking figures. We've been talking numbers with Mr. Tunji Andrews, a microeconomic thought leader and a startup founder who's followed the financial sector for a while and understands exactly what we need to do to get out of the situation we are right now. He said a lot. We've been assessing the government action since the removal of subsidy. There's no subsidy anymore, and right now it appears there was no plan all along, and now that the president gave a national broadcast, we also thought it to pay a closer look at that broadcast. So we've been looking at it, and Mr. Andrews have actually said that the money is being earmarked for small businesses may not get to them. He doubts it can happen, and he was about to tell us how that can happen. And more importantly, we're going to get him to tell businesses how they can position to follow that money. The money is plenty. It's 125 billion naira that's been earmarked for the informal sector. And we know that a huge part of the informal sector is undocumented. But that conversation for another day. Mr. Andrew, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, so let's open the phone lines now and then field in a few thoughts, and then we get back to this conversation, shall we?
Fantastic.
All right, so your excuse me, you must have listened, and there's so much to talk about, but I'm asking you now, has the government handled the post-fill subsidy regime well so far? Do you think, how would you rate government's action when you look at the last time subsidy was paid? I mean, that was May 29. The effect was felt May 29th. Immediately the president announced that there was no more subsidy. There's no time for play soundbites, but he said it. And how has the government's action been? Did it look like there was a plan, there was a post-fill subsidy regime plan to get us out of this? What was the plan? So many questions asked, but I mentioned earlier that we have a poll on Twitter, and so far 81% of the people that have voted think they are disappointed. Do you agree with them? Are you disappointed with government's action since subsidy was removed? Are you satisfied, especially because the president had a national broadcast addressing some of these issues? The phone lines are open for you now. You can call 0817-923-0002. And you can also call 0817-923-0003. The WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. What do you think about government's action since the removal of subsidy? Have they been swift? Are you disappointed? Are you impressed? What do you think? The phone lines are open now, and of course the WhatsApp messages. I begin with WhatsApp today. I have one here. It says, good afternoon, Chioma. Instead of protest against the present harsh economic policy, NLC should have ordered a nationwide sit at home. He says, well, though a good decision, the removal of subsidy has triggered hardship on the populace. That's Eric Chooks thinking a sit at home would have helped. I do not think that would have helped, but if you think so, call me up 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. Do you think the government has acted swiftly and very fast to cushion the effect of subsidy? If you don't forget, it's been about a month, over a month, or getting to 2 months, or it's been 2 months actually since the removal of subsidy. Has the government acted swiftly? The president's national broadcast came on, and a lot was addressed, and we're looking at it now. And so I'm getting back to you now, and Mr. Andrews, what do you think can be done to ensure that the 125 billion? Okay, I have a call coming in. Let's get that thought, and then we get right to it. Hello, good afternoon. I lost that one. Yes, you can call back 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0009. Are you satisfied with government's action since the removal of fuel subsidy? Would they have acted faster, or you're okay with the way they've acted so far? That's the question, and I would like to get your thoughts. Yes. Okay, so Mr. Andrews, what do you think we should do to ensure that the 125 billion enters the right pocket?
Like I said earlier, it is direct intervention methodology. Giving cash when you do not know the people who are going to benefit from the cash always just feels like a wasted effort. What can you do to make people's lives easier? What are the things that is increasing prices? What does it do directly? What does it affect the people's lives directly? The issues are simple. Transportation. The issues are simple. Food. We have seen it before. One, Shopee, the time of Shopee. We saw when the government created boxes across the country that allowed people to, get from point A to point B at cheaper prices. We also have train services that can be at vouchered prices. The government can intervene at that particular area. I also think food can be a major place where the government can also directly have intervention. So the government at some point was celebrating its rice pyramids and what we have done with rice production in Nigeria. We can also do subsidies in that area so that the people can be able to use vouchers to be able to acquire, food and things like that.
Interesting.
The reason why it is important is because the people you want to intervene for are the people at the bottom of the pyramid, not people who have 3, 4, 5 cars. There's no reason why you should subsidize them anymore. The people at the bottom of the pyramid need food, transportation, shelter. If we can directly intervene in those areas, then we would have really done something good. All
right, Mr. Andrews, let's take a call now. We have Okonkwo calling from Port Harcourt. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sorry for keeping you waiting. Go on.
I want to react on the point of giving 150 billion naira to the manufacturing sector.
Okay, 75 billion actually. 75 billion.
Yes. My sister, even if you give each manufacturer 150 billion, and after that, the person goes to the filling station to buy a liter of fuel, 617 naira, or buy a liter of diesel, 800 naira, before 1 year or 2 years. That 150 billion will vanish.
Okay.
Without that person making a profit of 1 naira from it. That business will collapse. The best thing is to rehabilitate our refineries. When the 4 of them begin to work, everything will go to 650 naira. And a yam, a tuber of yam of 1,500 naira will come back to 250 naira.
All right, Mr. Koko, because of time,
let them put the refineries in order. That's the solution.
Yes.
All that thing is a waste of time.
Okay, thank you for your time there. Let's have Edward. Oh, I think I lost Edward. He was calling in from Ajib there. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Welcome to Talking Figures.
Good afternoon, Martha. Good afternoon, all.
So do you think the government has acted well since the... Okay, all right. Go on.
So, yeah. You see, the condition we are now, we don't want to hear promises upon promises. We need immediate action. On 29th, when they swag in, immediately we pronounce subsidy no more. How can he not pronounce now put on the table of Nigeria? What is the big deal? See our refinery. Why are they budging from refinery? Say they are going to give 1 million to this 2 million. Then they put that money for refinery for us.
Okay.
Enough is enough.
You're the second caller calling for refinery.
A hungry man is a hungry man.
Okay.
We need action. Let us tell our president we need action now. It's not tomorrow. We don't believe in promises. Politicians will deceive us. Enough is enough. A day is coming. Because if you stay at the gate, you will die. You enter the city, you will die. You better go in and see what is happening there. What is the problem? To who somebody is in by force.
Okay, your point is well noted. Now we have to move on to another call before we get to our guest. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Edward calling from Manchester.
Yes, Edward, thank you for calling back. Go on.
Yes, this issue is very, very critical in this very time in Nigeria. And the president, having known about all these things, he made one statement that really tricked me of making $1 billion, I mean, naira. I think this money should be channeled to our NNPC. We have our NNPC stations around the country. Our own NNPC should subsidize this for the release. At least NNPC can say 300. Then that's a part for the first. Then comes to the palliative. The census have to switch in action by making sure they have a unique database. They have been sending money to census to count, but they have not given us any database of Nigerians.
Okay.
200 billions or 100 billions to be shared. Definitely, it will get to everybody with the database. Because what is the rate for us today, it will affect us tomorrow. Now we know we don't have database, and we are copying the American London system of government. We have to do it perfectly. Then we get it uniquely. As Masili is the least best thing in Nigeria. You have a token that can help his family. Okay, let me say an instance of a family man. You came to your house, you say there is no rice. You normally buy 1 bag of rice. Okay, you cannot buy 1 bag of rice. Okay, you cannot buy a half bag. You switch into quarter bag to make sure you meet that immediate need for that rice to be provided in the family. As the president should take the swift immediate step to distribute these things around to Nigerians for should be to applications for subsidized rent.
Okay, your point is well noted, and we have to move on now. Thank you for calling. We have Bot from Choba calling from Choba. You're welcome to the show. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I think that plan of investing such money to manufacturers is a list of priority. I don't see any reason why somebody who has something and everybody is pointing hands to that is I will know that is one of the problems we have, high cost of goods in this country. And somebody is not doing that. Thinking about money they just put on paper and it's not got anywhere. I believe these people have a secret agenda in their house. If they don't have secret agenda, what it takes to fix what I call it?
to that billion they are calling to achieve one first. So I will start from there. They are South Africa, just like I just said. Thank you. They are South Africa.
All right, thank you for your thoughts there. Now we get back to you, Mr. Andrews. You've shared a lot already, but I wanted to know what it is that businesses can do to follow this money. 125 billion is where we are for small and medium. I mean, let's face it, some of these business owners are not educated. They just know how to do their buying and selling. What must they do to position to get this money?
I think the rate of disbursement will be announced by the federal government, but I think you need to keep a close eye to the Bank of Industry, and I think the Federal Microfinance, I've forgotten the actual name. They will be the two institutions that most likely the government will use to, disperse some of these funds, especially because it's MSME. But you need to. They usually use a digital method. They use it during COVID. There was an app, you download it, and then you basically apply through it. The Federal Microfinance is something, I can't remember what it was, but you need to search for it and keep an eye on how they do that. Basically, the process is seamless, and you'll be able to go through some assessment and how you are supposed to be able to pay back. But I think in a nutshell, that is it.
Yeah, but then again, I just read during the Market Watch that the microfinance banks and mortgage banks are being allowed to be exempted from the cash withdrawal limits that the CBN has set in December 2022. Could all of that be the government positioning for such disbursements, and should we also look to microfinance banks?
Well, I think that particular circular was a different conversation, and it was more speaking to the fact that microfinance banks too are customers of banks, and they themselves need to acquire fund cash withdrawals. That whenever they get money from banks, and then they are getting to pay for fees on those cash withdrawals, they get to transfer it to their customers. So speaking to the fact that they are able to withdraw from banks at zero charges, which of course then affects the individuals. Basically, I think that was it. But just quickly to the conversation I was speaking about earlier. So I was talking about the National Microfinance Bank.
Okay.
I think it's called National Microfinance Bank. So just
do we have it in every state? Do we have this bank in every state?
Yes, it's a National Microfinance Bank, so it's everywhere.
Okay.
I think they were the ones that the federal government used during the COVID situation. They will likely be the ones to be used again. I'm not sure, but just keep an eye on their own activities. They might be the ones also.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I might take a call, just one more call, and then get back to this conversation. Hello, Henry, calling from Rumibo. You're welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Yes, my dear. Good afternoon, and your guest. Let me say good afternoon. First, I want to say I'm totally disappointed by the 150 billion naira which the president said they will distribute to the manufacturers and the small-scale business and other things. To me, my dear sister, it's a misplaced of priority, because we know where this problem is coming from. The hike of food, the hike of transportation, everything, the end of the people, we know the source. Not that we don't know. You see, I don't know what it would take for the president to make a pronouncement telling Nigerians that I am giving a marching order within this period to this period, the refinery which has blessed us with. There are countries that are looking for this refinery. They don't have the resources to put it in order. But this, in a country where we have 4 refineries and one has already been built again by Dangote, making 5, and we are the people who don't have just one. So I wonder where we are going. I think it is high time they should be sincere to Nigerians. What really happened? Does it mean that the refineries have been sold, or they have bought it by themselves, maybe waiting for a time to rehabilitate and convert it to themselves. Let us know, because you will know. You won't tell me that maybe the president does not know where the problem is coming from. The president knows that this problem is coming because the refinery we have in the land is not working. How many database? How many persons? As the country is today, we don't even know how many number of persons we have. We also have 200, 180 million people, have 200 million people, and the rest. When ordinary census is difficult to conduct, so how do you distribute this money? I think to me it's not the way forward. The president should use this to channel it in reviving the refinery so that the common man will breathe. He said let the common man breathe. Please, it's just my appeal.
Okay, thank you for calling.
This way, my dear sister, let me tell you something. Do you know that I use ROS 300 Lexus? I decided to pack it at home because I have checked the cost of this thing, and I let me add up trekking and some other things. But it's also it's not good for me.
Okay.
I park the car and continue. If I join the public transport, to me it's fair somehow. So why would do you know how many number of persons that are trekking and park their car in the house? What about the emergency? How would they rush to that emergency to provide a solution? So the president should do the needful. So don't want all this whole promise and all the rest. He should do the needful. He hits the ground running. That is what we expect from him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry, for sharing your thoughts there. Now we go over to WhatsApp, and we have Chuks. Okay, he says this federal government isn't getting it at all. Our need isn't palliative. Let them fix our refineries. I mean, I have all kinds of calls. Mr. Andrews, are you there? Yes, a good percentage of those that have called in today and the messages we've gotten are saying one thing actually: fix the refineries. Why do you think the government isn't hearing this call?
Well, I don't think that fixing the refineries is a solution. I will explain why. So, the 4 refineries that continue to be mentioned are refineries that even at full, because first of all, you must realize that some of those refineries are over 30 years old. So
Absolutely.
they are a king technology. So all of them combined, the 4 that we have combined, is about the size of capacity of production to the one Dangote just created. So to show you that all the 4 put together, capacity is the one that Dangote created. And all of them, even when they are running at optimal capacity, can only produce 50%. So basically, the truth is that even when you produce them to optimal capacity, you still have to sell at the price of the international price, which is based on crude oil prices. So it will not necessarily make petrol prices come down. It will just ensure that there's availability of petrol prices. And I understand why you think so, because obviously politicians in the past have explained this, and this is some of the problems that we have with our country, where when it suits them, they come to the public and make some certain pronunciations, not really giving the truth of what it is. Because the truth about it is that what affects the price of petrol is the global price of crude oil. Petrol is a byproduct of crude oil. You can't sell petrol at less the price of crude oil. If crude oil is selling at $30 per barrel, you can now sell petrol at $1 naira per liter. It has to follow that same sequence. But yes, of course, if we have the refineries working, there will be availability, but I'm not generally sure that it will affect prices.
Interesting. Now let's look at what you just mentioned, because the NLC that are on the streets protesting right now are asking that the CNG become the actual alternative for Nigerians, and they've alleged that there are plans to compromise the plan from coming up. And of course, the president also mentioned it during the podcast, plans to roll out CNG filled buses for mass transit. Do you see the CNG, that compressed natural gas, do you see this as a solution rather than fixing of the refineries?
Absolutely. So for every so right now we are not optimized for gas production. The amount of gas we are collecting air is ridiculous. We're wasting billions of dollars flaring gas into the air and use it as alternative sources, not just for cars, but for buildings, for electricity, for all sorts of things. So yes, I do agree that CNG is an alternative, but I do not think that we are as we are right now to capture gas in the large volumes that will affect and become subject for petrol. I do not think we are. But we can start to work towards it now, but I don't think we are set up yet to do that.
Now, when you look at the idea of this mass transit scheme that the president has also talked about, what role can private transport companies play in complementing this initiative?
The private companies want to complement it. If the government wants to help out, the government should give subsidies to the private companies, via vouchers to the people. Private companies are here to do business. They're here to be able to make profit and survive and be profitable for the economy. They should not be intervening in creating palliative measures for the people. They can help the government to make it accessible to the people, but they should not be the ones involved trying to make life easier for the people. It is the government's primary role and responsibility.
Interesting. Now let's look at another plan of this administration, which is to increase the minimum wage. We're going to get your thoughts on that, Mr. Andrews. But first, let's take more calls. Okay, I lost that one. I have you're not saying your name, where you're calling from, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
I'm from Ebonyi State.
Okay. What are your thoughts? Has this government acted quite well in removal of subsidy?
Yes.
Okay.
I've had the promise given by the president in that set of palliatives. My sister, the whole thing remains that the lifestyle is too costly in Nigeria as it remains now. It's because of the landing cost. It's not because of the international price. It is the landing cost. And let me help us to know that if these 4 refineries are put together and prepared, there are 4 benefits that the Nigerians will get. Number 1, the price of a liter of fuel in Nigeria will not be more than 80 to 90 naira per liter. Right. Number 2, more than 50 million Nigerians will gain direct employment from these 4 refineries. Number 3, African countries will be coming to buy fuel in Nigeria, and our economy will. Finally, Nigerian money or Nigerian naira value will increase in the world money market. The value of naira will increase and begin to compete with dollar and the pounds and euros. So let them repair the refineries and everything will come down. Then we will now begin to live and enjoy our lives in this country instead of this hardship and poverty. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your thoughts. Can I take him? Okay, let's just have one more call coming and then.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Dagogo. I want to contribute to the program.
Go on.
Okay, yes. I disagree with your guest for saying that the fuel price will be affected by international market or something.
Market forces, that's global oil prices is actually what's affecting the cost of petrol.
Imagine that we have the crude oil in our country. We have the refinery that refines it. Where does international price or whatever affect? How does it affect it? It's just like you have a farm. You plant your cassava. You go and harvest your cassava after it is grown. You refine it yourself. And how does market affect you? You know? So I don't agree with that. That is a lie. It's a lie. Let them fix our refinery. Let us refine our products and use our products. The fuel prices will come down. That's my view.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts. Mr. Andrews, I'll come to you now. What do you think about what the last caller just said?
So I get what he's saying, and in a sense, it makes sense that we own the crude oil, and we are the ones refining it, so we should set a price that we want to set. But you must also remember that Nigeria's main...
Oh, Mama God, why you no come market yesterday? I don't understand my body.
Break had to come in, and actually we're wrapping up. Mr. Andrews, you're still there, right? You're there, Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying apologies for the we had to go on that break, and sorry for the breaking transmission very quickly. Yes, so just give us your final thoughts. A lot has been said on the show already.
So quickly to the last caller, yes, it is true, we produce crude oil in Nigeria, and yes, we refine it ourselves. So you must also realize that crude oil is Nigeria's main source of revenue. And everything when the government is talking about revenue generation, a lot of it comes from crude oil. So if you reduce your own price of crude oil and you reduce the price you use to sell it to yourself, then that means the government doesn't get money to begin with. So somehow the revenue is still, the subsidy is still being paid for. If you get what I'm saying. So if you reduce it by the point of how much you sell crude oil to yourself, just like the caller said in terms of the cassava. So cassava might be 30 naira in the market, and you decide to sell it to yourself at 1 naira and eat it at 1 naira. The income you put in your generation will be 1 naira because you decided to sell it to yourself at 1 naira.
Right.
So you need to balance the acts together. So well, it is true that the government may do it, but I don't think the government will, because obviously it doesn't make any sense in terms of balancing acts. But I said one thing. The government needs to think about the poor, and they need to think about direct interventions. I don't think giving out loans to MSMEs that you cannot trace or identify is a way to be able to create to reduce the hardship.
Okay.
Directly to the people, make sure that you give them the palliatives that matter.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrews. Direct intervention, you say. Fixing of refinery will not work, you say as well. And that's actually where we say our goodbyes on Talking Figures today. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrews. Mr. Tunji Andrews is a microeconomic thought leader and a startup founder. AWABA precisely is his startup, and he's shared a lot of thoughts here today. You can catch it up. It's on all platforms at Nigeria Info PH. And before we go, just to read the comment I'm seeing on Twitter, he said this is more like redistribution of subsidy payment. I believe that comment is referring to the national broadcast of the president, where he plans to give about 150 billion to both SMEs and manufacturing sectors. All right, that's it. That's me saying goodbye. My name is Choma Ezinwa. Thank you for being a part of the show. If I couldn't take your calls, of course you know why. Thank you for calling as well. We'll do this again next week. It's every Wednesday 2 p.m. Talking figures, talking numbers for development as well. And of course, Rivers Today, the news. Rivers Today is up next. Afterwards, Hard Facts. Stay tuned.